Alright, well I'm fairly certain this video won't get a lot of views. I'm doing it anyways because this is something I know so many people struggle with. And that's how to track restaurant food, or really any food that anybody else is preparing, whether you're going out to a dinner at friends or families, or a party, or any situation in life where you don't have control of the food. How do you track it? In fact, even if you're not tracking, this video will still be helpful because one of the big things I'm going to talk about is how to stay on plan even though you're kind of off plan, and how to best deal with these situations. And this is really important to me. You know, I talk about sustainability all the time. You can't just dramatically change everything about your life and decide, hey, I'm gonna get in shape, so therefore I'm gonna cut everything out of my life. I'm never gonna go out with friends or family. I'm never gonna go into any social situations. I'm gonna avoid all that type of stuff. No, that's not gonna be sustainable, and it's likely to lead you to the all or nothing binge restrict kind of pattern. And you can absolutely go out, have fun, even include things you wouldn't normally include, and still get results. And whether you're tracking or not, the biggest thing here is to not fall into effort mode just because you're off plan, or just because you don't know how to track it doesn't mean, who cares, I'm gonna just YOLO it today until I get back on track tomorrow. That's the all or nothing mentality we wanna get away from, because it's an absolute killer. And in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons why so few people see any long-term success. Besides, just because you don't know exactly what's in the food doesn't mean you can't track it. If you're trying to be perfect, which again, I'm trying to get you away from that perfectionist mentality, then yeah, it would be hard to do, but you don't have to do that. And I'm gonna go over how to track some of these things as best you can in a little bit. But first I want to explain, especially if you're new to tracking and you're just getting into this, it's so important to still try to track, even if you're not really sure, just because it's gonna help build that knowledge base. And while since you're just getting started, it's harder to be more intuitive because you really don't know at this point. So you do have to put the work in up front so you can learn how to be more flexible and more intuitive down the road and make it more sustainable. Okay, sorry for the kind of awkward transition here with the wardrobe change and the haircut, but I actually had this video completely done and scheduled and everything, but I remembered there was something that I wanted to talk about that will kind of help explain what I mean by build a knowledge base. And it was what happened with a client of mine recently. She's a pretty petite woman. She's been dieting for a while and towards the end of the cut, so her calories are pretty dang low, and she had a day where she went out and she said it wasn't a binge or anything like that, but she wasn't paying attention, she wasn't tracking or anything because she didn't know what was in the food she ate, and she saw a pretty big spike on the scale, and even mentioned that she kind of expected that because that happens a lot when you go out to a restaurant. But the problem was it went up a couple pounds and then it wasn't coming back down. For several days later, it kind of was still elevated. So I asked her, well, can you kind of give me an idea of what you had that day, and we can take a look at things and I'll have a more clear picture. And what I did was I went into my tracker and I just quickly started plugging things in. Obviously we don't know exactly what was in anything, but that's kind of the point of this video. And when I had the totals, her calories were roughly about 4 times what they should have been. It was a huge surplus over her normal calories, and it really set her back quite a bit. And that's what I mean by build a knowledge base. So if you're tracking, even though you don't know for sure, you can see the calories adding up really quickly and maybe keep things in check a little bit, or if nothing else, at least you know what it actually looks like. And it can be different for everybody. Some people will find that, hey, I'm actually pretty close to my calories. I never would have expected that. Sometimes it's way over calories, like in this case. Either way, you have to learn, and if you don't track because you don't know, you're never gonna do that. And while I understand the extra time that it takes, honestly, like it only took not even probably 5 minutes for me to plug all that in really quick and just take a look at things. And also keep in mind, you wanna track before you eat as much as possible, because if you eat and then track, this happens a lot. People say, well, I had something and I had a slice of cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory and I figured it wouldn't be too bad. And then I plugged it in and holy cow, it was 2,000 calories for that one slice. And there's nothing you can do once it's already ate. But if you track it ahead of time, you can either account for it or maybe make some changes if it's a little bit different than you thought. But again, it's always up to you and how you want to handle it. But I think it's important to know that just because it's not necessarily a binge doesn't mean it can't be quite a big setback, but it depends if you're okay with that or not. Okay, back to the normal video. Keep in mind too, it kind of depends on what phase you're in, what your goals are and things like that, because the more diligent you're trying to be, the lower your calories are, the tighter you are to any potential deadline you may have or anything like that, the more in control you have to be. But at the same time, it still doesn't mean you can't go out and do anything. In fact, even when I did my show, which I'm not a competitor, like I did a show because it was something that I always felt like I wanted to do and try and see, but I don't coach competitors, I'm not a competitor myself, but I went through that process and got really freaking lean. And even through that period, I think my prep was 24 to 26 weeks or somewhere around there, and I went out to eat every single weekend up until about 8 weeks left, where I decided, okay, now let's really make sure that I'm dialing things in the best I can. But it just shows if I can get that lean while eating out, it's not something you have to avoid, especially if you're just trying to get in better shape. So anyway, when it comes to restaurant food, here's how I recommend you start tracking. First things first, if the restaurant has nutrition online, just use that. I mean, that's the simplest, easiest way to do things. Plan ahead of time as much as possible. So if you're gonna go somewhere, look online, see if they have a menu, see if they have nutrition available, start looking through some options that you want that sound good, that may be a bit more macro friendly. If you wanna try to keep your calories down, again, there's different situations for every person in every phase, but planning ahead is gonna set you up for success. And then since the nutrition's online, just use that. Now, if they don't have nutrition info online, chances are there's going to be something similar from a different restaurant that does have nutrition. And even though it's not going to be perfect, again, we're trying to get away from that thought process. Just use that from the other restaurant. So if it's a chicken sandwich or whatever it might be, just use something similar and roll with it. And no matter what, like even if you do have nutrition online for the restaurant, is it going to be spot on? No, it could be wildly off. We don't really know, but it's not like the chefs are back there like measuring out the butter and pouring your olive oil with a tablespoon and making sure that everything's perfectly portioned. Of course not. They're just throwing it together, trying to make it taste good and getting it out there. But the point is, it's at least going to get you in the ballpark, and that's good enough. We don't have to be so spot on. You're not going to wreck all your progress because you're a few calories off or 100 calories this way or that way. It doesn't work like that. It's not that extreme, and I really want to pound that into your head. Now, what if you're ordering something that you don't have nutrition online, you can't find anything that's similar from anywhere else? What do you do, especially if it's this thing that has a lot of different items in it and you can't really individually pick each one, which I mean, that would be the other option. You could individually add all the different ingredients, especially if it's not a lot, and then just maybe add some oils and stuff if you want to be a little bit cautious. But if it's really complex and you just have no clue, that's okay. Just give it some sort of value. Like just a wild guess. I don't care if it's way off or way on. You're not gonna know anyways. For all you know, it's gonna be perfect. Probably not. You'll never know if you're over or under or on anyways. But the point is, if you give it some sort of value, even if it's just a wild guess, it's at least gonna keep you somewhat in the ballpark. And the point is not falling into, well, I don't know. What's the point? I might as well have this meal and dessert and an extra 3 beers and go home and have cake and ice cream. You know what I mean? Like that's what we want to avoid. We don't want to fall into all or nothing. I'm off plan. Let's get it all in while I can now. There's no point now. And just falling into that mentality, it just doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like if you went out to your car and there was a flat tire, you wouldn't go and slash the other 3 tires because the one's damaged. No, it just wouldn't make sense. Why make things worse just because you feel like you're off? I know a lot of it's emotional, or pretty much all of it's emotional, but we want to move past that. And this is how you can learn how to do that. And what you'll find is over time, nothing terrible is going to happen. Will you see a little spike on the scale the next day? Possibly, probably. A lot of times when you go out to eat at restaurants, they use a lot of sodium. And when you have more sodium than usual, you see a spike on the scale because of water retention until you pee that out. And this is why I'm always talking about taking an average for the week and not looking at any individual days and not getting caught up in that number. And then the same thing goes if you're eating at somebody else's house or they're making dinner and you're not sure what's in it, just give it a best guess. Don't overthink this. Don't get caught up in it. Don't tell yourself, well, you can't track because you don't know. That's not true. Again, we're just trying to ballpark. And even then, no matter what, there's no such thing as perfection. Even nutrition labels themselves can be up to 20% off. So even if you have actual labels and it says what's in the food, you could still be off 20% either way. That's a pretty significant amount. So trying to get caught up in perfection just doesn't make sense. Another thing you can do with restaurant food is, especially if you're in the later stages and your calories are low and you're trying to do everything you can to stay on track as best you can custom order your food. Even if there aren't any great options. Some restaurants, you look at the menu, you're like, man, there's really nothing here that's gonna be lower calorie, it's gonna be tough. Pretty much anywhere is gonna have something that you can custom order. Like order a grilled chicken breast with a side salad with dressing on the side, or an order of fish or something. That's what I did when I was on prep. I would just order like a grouper or chicken. I would tell them to cook it with no butter or no oil. Yes, it doesn't make it taste as good, but again, you just trade off here. And if you really wanna get through that cut, and especially if you're doing everything you can to get the best possible results, that's the way to do it. And this way you can still go out. As long as you're being nice, they're not gonna care. They're not gonna get mad at you. Don't feel bad or guilty about making them do a little bit more work. That's what they're there for. But the point is, there's always ways to make lower calorie options and to make it work. The hard part is mentally getting over wanting to eat more pizza or burgers or stuff that's probably not going to fit within your budget if you're really trying to stick to the plan closely. And then one other strategy you can use when going out or going to a party or whatever else where you're going to maybe want to have more food and have more flexibility is you can bank calories. And this is why sometimes just using a refeed approach can be good, because you can use that refeed day. But even if you're not doing that, you can just save up calories throughout the week. So this is just random, but say you eat like 100 calories less for 5 days. Now you've got an extra 500 calories on top of your normal normal calories that you can spend to go out and have a little bit more flexibility. There's a lot of different options. And again, this is why I love the average for the week and not looking at singular days. Even if you do go over by a few hundred calories and the rest of the days are still the way they're supposed to be, what is that? 300 divided by 7 is like, what, 40 some calories, I believe? It's like, that's your average for the week. And this is why it can be so beneficial to see this, because if you try to live and die off of singular days, you're gonna die. You're just not gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna be able to stay perfect all the time, and you don't have to be. Now, am I saying you should always track? You have to track every single time? Absolutely not. Like I said, in the beginning stages, it's good to do this to help you see that you can do it, and you can keep yourself from going off the rails, and it's gonna keep you in a good place, and that's very valuable. Over time, the more you do this, the more flexible you can be, especially if you're in a reverse diet, your calories are high, your hunger hormones are in a good place. It makes it much easier to be more flexible in that type of situation. Whereas if you're in the later stages of a cut, calories are down and your hunger hormones are screaming, it's a bit more difficult and you want to tighten things up a bit more. And always remember that that's a temporary phase and time for more food will come. So just do your best to get through that. But no matter what, as I just said in my previous video, go in with a plan. And just be okay with that and understand there's positives and negatives to either side. Make a decision and be okay with it. What you don't want to do is not make a decision, and then no matter what you do, you're probably going to feel like you failed, because if you eat more, you're going to feel like, well, I should have stuck to my macros. If you do stick to your macros, you're going to feel like, well, I should have been more flexible and enjoyed the experience. Go in with a plan, execute that plan, be okay with that. Anyway, I know this all or nothing mentality that a lot of people have, that you may have. It's tough to get over, but you can do it. It's one of the biggest reasons why so many people struggle to lose weight and keep it off, which, by the way, if you do struggle with this, make sure you check out this top video next, and I'll talk about ways to make sure you lose the weight for good this time and not gain it back. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.